It's time for HawgSports Live from HawgSports.com, a division of 24/7 Sports, presented by Crain Automotive. The Crain team's got 'em. Visit them online at crainteam.com. And now with the latest breaking updates on HawgSports, here's Trey Biddy.
What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HAWGsports.com. Arkansas coming off of a 34-31 loss, another one-score loss on the road to the Tennessee Volunteers last weekend. And moving ahead this weekend, the Texas A&M Aggies. Bobby Petrino is 3-0 as the Razorback coach against Texas A&M. All other coaches are 1-12 since then at Arkansas, and this is the first time in a long time that we've got them in Fayetteville. 2:30 kickoff, I believe, and should be a great atmosphere. Bobby Petrino roaming the sidelines as the Arkansas head coach for the first time in a really long time. We'll talk about that. We'll talk some basketball. We'll talk a little bit about coaching search and stuff as well, some of the stuff I'm hearing. We're going to be joined with Danny West and Connor Goodson also, and we'll take your questions at the end of the show. All that and more on today's episode of HawgSports Live. The Crain Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crain commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crain Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle and get you back on the road. Check them out at crainteam.com. HawgSports Live is driven by the Crain Automotive Team.
You've done it. Now you're the Crain Cash champ. You just won big with the Crain team. Go ahead, soak it up. How could you not feel like a winner? You dominated with our low price guarantee, and you got way more for your trade. Plus, with statewide delivery on thousands of vehicles from 16 locations, and the fact that we'll beat any other dealer's price, we make our Kansans feel like champions every day. That's winning. That's the Crain team. Visit crainteam.com.
So I'm going to go ahead and apologize for my demeanor right now because I am livid. I spent like $3,000 on my yard, tilling up the grass, putting down new fresh dirt, seed, water, all this stuff. And for weeks, I haven't even let anybody touch on it. And the lawn service company that I pay to put fertilizer down and, pre-emerge and all that stuff, did not notify me today and came and just rutted it up. I mean, I'm so mad right now. Like, I can't even see straight. I'm so mad. The way my lawn was looking and compared to what it is right now, it's just like, I'm like shaking. I'm so mad. Usually they notify me, say, hey, your lawn's on service today. Nothing except for a notice. Hey, we've completed. Rate your experience. Anyway, so I've got that going on, so I apologize if I seem a little pissed off because I am right now. Kickoff time announced for the Arkansas-Auburn game, 11:45 in the morning, SEC Network, 12 days away. Arkansas basketball ranked in the preseason AP Top 25, checking in at number 14. That's a little low. They're going to be better than that, I think. We'll have Connor Goodson on here in a little bit to help us discuss what he saw this weekend in Hot Springs from the basketball team. And I had a little video, but I guess I don't know if I'll be able to get that on here or not. Probably not. But anyway, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out after you watch this. So Arkansas 34-31 losers to Tennessee Volunteers. I thought that they played pretty well, but it's kind of the same thing that we talk about all the time, and it's a close loss. It's, Arkansas is, always the bridesmaid, I guess, in a lot of ways when it comes to winning games on the road. They come so close, and I'm interested to see how things are going to go this week because the trend with Arkansas has been losing in dramatic fashion at home, like losing so bad that the stadium empties out at halftime. The last 4 games against Power 4 teams or equivalent have been double-digit losses, whereas every game since October 8th, 2022 on the road has been either a win for Arkansas or a one-score loss. I like that Arkansas comes in and does the Sunday practice. I've always thought that was better. Sam Pittman's the only coach, as I mentioned last week, that I've covered in 23 years of doing this who does the Monday practice, and I guess he brought that from Georgia, but it makes a lot more sense to me. Like, one way to look at it, I guess, you feel like you get more practice preparation time for the game because, Monday's a practice about getting ready for the next opponent. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday walkthrough, Saturday game. But the way Petrino does it, the way Nutt did it, the way every other coach that I've ever covered does it, you come in on Sunday and you practice, you watch film, you put the game away. Doing it Monday means you watch film and all that kind of stuff on Monday, which is pretty far removed from the game. Doing it Sunday, you watch all that stuff. You get the players to run, get some of the soreness out. You practice the younger players. I just think that's a better strategy. I like that they do it that way. But I am interested to see how Arkansas competes. Texas A&M's got a very good football team. That's no secret. They've got a very good football team. But it's going to be wild to see Bobby Petrino roaming the sidelines as the Arkansas head coach. The last time he roamed the sidelines as a head coach, he was on the other sideline at Missouri State. Guys remember that one. Arkansas was trailing in that game till about 9 minutes left. Were left when Bryce Stevens returned the punt for a touchdown and kind of opened the game up. But Arkansas was trailing in that game. So I think there's a lot of support out there still for Bobby Petrino, but I don't think there's any secret that he needs to win. I mean, this would go a long way if they can take care of business in these next 3 games at home. That would go a long way for him. And if you can catch one more, then I think that there's a good chance he ends up being the coach. There's a lot of people that have talked about, maybe it wouldn't cost as much money for Bobby. Maybe you could divert some of that money to NIL. I have heard from a few people now that the money is there for Arkansas to go out and hire a big-name coach. What is that money? $8.5, $9 million is about middle of the pack in the SEC. I know that sounds like an astronomical number, but that's about middle of the pack in the SEC. So if they have that kind of money, and I've also heard that there is definitely more interest in the job than there was when Sam Pittman was hired. And part of that is, as I mentioned way back then, a lot of people mistook Arkansas' situation for being a location problem and not a coach problem. And a big part of that was a coach problem. And it's been on Arkansas too. Investing in this program, supporting this program fully, that has not really been there for Arkansas over the years. But from what I hear, that's about to change, and it has to change. You cannot make you can't make a hire that doesn't inspire the fans. Like, this is a guy that really needs to not only be a good coach, but also win that press conference. Whoever this hire is most likely eventually going to be fired at some point. James Franklin was just fired at Penn State. You look at his record, and it's like 10 wins, 11 wins, 13 wins in the college football playoff berth. And they go 3-3, and he's fired. Big reason for that is they're 12 years. You would think that he has logged enough good seasons behind him that that's enough, but apparently not for them. But, again, it's because he has been there so long. So whoever this coach is going to be, whoever you are out there that you're mad about the hire or you're talking about how it's not going to work out, that's an attitude you can have, and you can eventually come back 4, 5, 6 years, maybe 10 years later and say, I told you, because you're eventually going to be right, odds are. Coaches are hired to be fired, whoever this guy is. I've heard people tell me that Rhett Lashley's not interested in this job. I've heard people tell me that he'd maybe be more interested in the job at 52 than he would at 42. I think he wants this to be, people have told me this is what he wants his last job to be. So take that for what you will, but there is interest out there from supposedly a good number of candidates out there, and they have the money. And it's not just about the money. It's about getting the advanced scouting department. It's about the support from an NIL standpoint, being able to push that money through the clearinghouse effectively, all of those things. You're not going to hire a coach without that support in place already. You have to be proactive as an Arkansas fan. It sucks to tell you they're not going to be good without the fans supporting them financially beyond what you're already doing. It sucks, in my opinion, that the only people in this whole thing who are being asked to give money are fans who already give money. The only people giving money to this program are fans and boosters. That's it. That's where the money comes from. So I want to feel like the fans are taken care of, and I think the fans want to feel like they're taken care of, and I don't think the fans are going to support a hire that's not going to excite them. This has to be they have to do this right. I mean, there's no other way around this. Okay. So we'll talk to Connor Goodson here in a little bit. Arkansas had their tip-off scrimmage in Hot Springs. Again, you can look at the video from that on our YouTube channel. And up next, Friday, October 24th, we're just, 11 days away from this. They play Cincinnati. It's 7 o'clock in Bud Walton Arena. So you got a couple of exhibitions. You've got the one at the FedEx Forum on October 27th in Memphis, against Memphis. That's at 8 o'clock. And then after that, you get a little bit of a break, and it's November 3rd, Bud Walton Arena, Southern. The season opens. Should be a really exciting basketball game. Looking back at Arkansas's game, I mean, again, like we always talk about the same issues, but a lot of times it's turnovers, mistakes, making your opponent pay for mistakes. That kind of classifies into turnovers. And decision-making in key moments, that decision to not go for it, to go for it on 4th and 3 or whatever it was, turned out to be the wrong decision. Now, if he'd made it, then yeah, okay, we talk about it's the right decision. I'm a little more conservative when it comes to, especially in the third quarter. Like, there's no reason to try to win a game in the third quarter, in my opinion. And if you don't get it, and it's not guaranteed you make the field goal, but I don't think it was a long field goal. But if you don't get it, then the other team goes down and score, which they did not. They got a stop for them. But if they go down and score, 10 points can sometimes feel like 21 points when you're in an environment like that in Neyland Stadium. So that was a big part of it, and the turnovers. Going back and looking at it, I think that was a fumble by Taylon Green. I don't think that, the ball went forward, but I think he had lost control of it. I think it was a fumble. I think it was ruled correctly. I wasn't sure watching it live at the game, but I do think that was the right call. The Braylon Russell fumble, there's not much you can do about that. I mean, I think Petrino had said something, he's got to chin it. He's got to do – when somebody puts their helmet right there, the ball's coming out, and they're coming in like a rocket. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, it's just unfortunate. I mean, the guy made a great play. The other fumble by Taylon Green, that just can't happen. I mean, that's all on Taylon Green. So that kind of stuff can't happen. So those are the reasons that Arkansas did not win the game. They just did enough to not win the game. The defense played better, even though they gave up 485 yards. The offense did mostly what it needed to do, aside from fumbling the ball and not taking the points there on that field goal. If they do that, then we're not talking about how this team, has continued to struggle in that third quarter. But they came back, man. I mean, they scored, 14 unanswered in the second half. Defense got a stop for them. You got to give them credit that the way that they played in the fourth quarter, but the bottom line at the end of the game, and something that's just we've always talked about, is going to plague Arkansas. I can't count how many times me and Danny talked about this because of the issues with the defensive line, because you feel like you have a chance if you have Taylon Green on your team. But what if you can't get Taylon Green on the field? And that's exactly what happened at the end of this game, because you don't have the depth and the strength of the defensive line, and so the other team can run the ball on you, and they can take the clock down and just run the ball, and that's how Tennessee ended this game. I think this is probably the first time that's actually happened that way, but that's how the game played out. Tennessee ran the ball at will, kept Taylon Green off the field until the clock went to 0. So that's how it ended up. Unfortunately, I'm real interested to see how this game plays out at home. Does Arkansas continue that same vibe that we've had at home, where they just do not show up? I don't know what it is about that, but they have struggled to show up. I'd like to tell you about our friends over at Walker Brothers. Walker Brothers brings you the finest men's clothing from around the world, carefully selected to last, fit right, and help you look your best. From game day essentials to distinguished luxury wear. From a meticulously crafted suit to perfectly fitted pair of jeans, every piece in their collection is hand-selected for enduring quality and iconic style. Experience that undeniable confidence that comes with perfecting your personal style. Visit them at 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6 in Fayetteville, or at their brand new location, 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers. So we got the Walker Brothers ticker down here. You can see the address floating by if you need to check it out again. Okay, I want to go to Bobby Petrino real quick here. Bobby spoke today. SEC coaches tell. What am I saying? Regular Monday press conference. This is just a quick. It's not quite 2 minutes long.
You did incredibly well when you were the head coach here previously against Texas A&M, and then the Hogs have had, whatever we want to describe it as, some difficulty since. What's changed, do you think, for Arkansas against Texas A&M? And more importantly, I mean, what can you guys change this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of years and a lot of things to think about that I'm not qualified to evaluate and make those comments. I wasn't around for all that and don't have any idea. But, you know, we need to go out and play a good football game. We got to be able to run the ball. They're a very difficult team to run the ball against. We've got to get to third down and short, third and medium, and convert those, keep the football, and eliminate big plays. You know, last week we were able to play really good third down defense, and that helped us get off the field, but we still gave up too many explosive plays, so we're going to work hard at that.
The other thing I want to ask you about is the pressure. How does the pressure change? You know, look, you were the head coach here. The pressure of being the head coach with the job versus being the head coach, the interim head coach auditioning for the job.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of it as that. You know, I'm just going out there every day and trying to help these young men get better, help them understand that football is one of the things that helps you the rest of your life. And we've talked a lot about that in team meetings, and just trying to make it a better product out on the field. That's all my focus is right now. What happens after this happens. I'm not thinking about it one bit, and I don't have any pressure on myself on that at all. I just want us to be a better football team on the field and find a way to win the game. You know, we've been in them, we've been had our opportunities, and we just haven't been able to finish and find a way to get the W.
Well, Bobby Petrino there. I mean, he's right. That's how you have to approach this. I mean, I know that he wants the job. We all know that he wants the job, but you have to have a narrow focus, one play to the next, one game to the next, if you're him. And if you do well at that, then things will have a way of working out. I think he's got a lot of support from people. People want to see him do well and win the job. As I mentioned, Rhett Lashley, what I'd heard is that, you know, not interested. But that's also, it's important to note this, that is exactly what you say if you're the head coach of another team in the middle of a season. You say, yeah, I'm worried about our job. So, but I have heard that the package is there for them to bring in a high-quality coach. I don't think – now, it depends on how things go with Petrino. Say he wins 3 games. Then he's like, yeah, maybe he's a candidate. Maybe, you know, maybe we look at this option. I think that's – you getting a little bit more of maybe not in that situation. But I don't think that we're going to go to coordinator level with this. I think and if it is a coordinator, then it's a big-name coordinator. But I think that they're aiming for sitting head coach right now. Texas A&M total offense right now, they are 458.5 yards per game. That ranks 6th in the SEC. Their scoring offense is 7th, 34.7. Arkansas is 36.3, by the way, and total offense is 511.5 yards per game. Pretty good. I mean, they're pretty balanced overall. 265 passing yards per game. Rushing yards, 193. Both of those are 6th in the conference. Total defense is solid, 5th in the SEC, 293 yards per game allowed. They do allow a decent number of points. They're giving up 20.3 points per game. Now, they're a team, you know, that are all pretty jammed, like from 19 points at South Carolina, ranking 8th, to Texas A&M at 20.3, ranking 13th. So not a huge gap there, even though their ranking is a little bit low. Arkansas, by the way, allowing 30.7 points per game, which is last in the SEC. Pass defense, 7th in the SEC, middle of the pack, 191 yards per game. Rushing defense, 8th in the SEC, middle of the pack, 103 per game. I mean, they're not just like outrageous in any category. It's just like just steady, just good pretty much all the way across the board. As I mentioned, Arkansas 1-12. The last time they beat them was 2021. And the 2022 game should have beaten them, but KJ Jefferson jumped from, let's call it 18 feet out. 18 feet. we'll just keep getting it farther and farther away. All right, we're going to bring in our guy Danny West now. Danny West is going to join us on the Ozarks Go hotline. Those of you looking for reliable, consistent, great internet service, then check out our friends over at Ozarks Go. And Danny, there you go. 479-684-4900. You will talk to a local person when you call that number because it is a local company. ozarksgo.net/hawg, HAWG, to find out if they're available in your area, but think north of the tunnel, parts of Oklahoma, in northwest Arkansas, that area. And yeah, as I say, I've never unplugged my router. It's always worked consistently. Danny, how's the internet where you're from?
It's all right. It's holding steady so far. We'll see if we make it through. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm livid right now because of what my lawn care service just did to my yard.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I'm sorry.
Everybody's heard about it. I'll tell you later, but it's,
All right.
yeah, I've got a picture. You can't really see it there, but it is rutted up.
You got hash marks out there.
Dude, it's all brand new grass. It is all like the amount of time that I spent on this, the amount of money.
There's bigger problems.
Yeah. Anyway, Danny, what are your thoughts on the game and just the situation at Arkansas overall right now?
Well, the game, I ended up, I took Arkansas to cover in the game, Biddy, and I'm glad I did. I needed to make up a few really, really bad predictions so far this season, but kind of played out the way I thought it might. Arkansas looked sharp, in my opinion. One penalty, it's tough to overlook. Look, man, they lost the game. Nobody's sitting here saying give it to Bobby because, they played a clean game. You got to win the games, and ultimately it was more of the same. They didn't win the game, and that's what matters. But, man, I thought there was a lot to like. Just the nostalgic feeling of knowing you're not out of it, even when it got down, 34-17. It didn't become 55-17, and we've seen that happen a lot. It became 34-31 really, really quickly. So I think if you're trying to grab things that you're pulling for Petrino, if you're that guy, if you really want to pull out some positives, I think they're there. I think that feeling of knowing you're not out of it, the penalty thing, playing a clean game, and then you kind of have to ask yourself, Arkansas lost with this year's team, but what does it look like if all of these things come true and they put in all this money and they go out and attract the type of roster that you see at Tennessee and Ole Miss, Missouri right now? Does Arkansas win that game with a better roster? I don't know, but they were dang sure in it despite 3 turnovers.
They had enough aside from the defensive line, Danny, I think, to win it. They made some mistakes, but that's something that you and I talked about so much this offseason. Like, yeah, they've got Taylon Green, but
that
what about if they
scenario is what we talked about. Can they get a stop defensively, when the other team has to run it out? Yeah. And they couldn't.
And as I mentioned in the walk and talk, like I like Kevin Otis a lot, but he's a true freshman. You're asking a true freshman in there to compete with guys that are, have been in, a college weight room and a college system for a long time. That's when I saw him out there, I was just, and nothing. I like Kevin. I think he's got a bright future, but any freshman defensive lineman worries me, just like any freshman safety worries me.
Yeah.
So what's going on in recruiting, Danny? Just what's the good news?
Yeah, bring everybody up with recruiting real quick. 6'8", 310, Jermaine Mitchell. As far as I know, Biddy, he's still coming in this weekend for an official. We haven't talked about any official visitors for a long time, what seems like since June, I guess. I guess that would be the last time. But, yeah, Jermaine Mitchell, as far as I know, buddy, he's still coming in this weekend. He's a JUCO offensive lineman, 6'8", 310. He's committed to Mississippi State, has been since August. I want to say August 11th. But he's from St. James, Louisiana. He'll have 2 years to play wherever he ends up. And, he's a big kid that they offered a few weeks back. I'm not sure how much it's going to change. Obviously, Biddy, all of this can change. You know that. It's all fluid, very much fluid at the moment. But he's really the only one I've got to tell you about. They've still got 15 commitments holding on for 66th in the country right now. Obviously, don't read too much into that. That number is probably going to get worse before it gets better. But yeah, Jermaine Mitchell is supposed to come in this weekend for a 2:30 kickoff against A&M. That's probably one of the it is. It's probably the last time you're going to get a great home environment for recruiting purposes. We know about the Missouri game. It'll be later in the day, later in the year, but it's a few days after Thanksgiving. Probably at that point of the year, we'll see what the coaching situation looks like, but probably wouldn't anticipate just a ton of recruiting for that home game. So if you're going to do it, it's got to be pretty much this weekend is when it's got to be. If you're going to have any type of blowout type recruiting weekend during the season. And man, I don't see it happening. I think you'll probably see some committed guys, maybe a few younger guys from around the region, but it's just where it's at right now, Trey. Kids are in a holding pattern. Arkansas is too. Just got to let the games play out.
Yeah. This is, I thought, an interesting comment from Pooh Bear the Prophet. He said, did Hunter Yurachek make a mistake firing Pittman this early in the season? Did it cause a snowball effect with other school firings? Now, it's not so much the second part, did it cause a snowball effect with other school firings? I just think that, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, but I think last year it was hard for a lot of schools to fire coaches because of the calendar with recruiting. December, transfer portal opens, lose all your players, all the other players sign with somebody else. And then you bring a coach in. So you almost guarantee yourself a really bad season that first year. But I think that they nailed the time to fire him, Danny, because first of all, I don't know if people realize this, but Arkansas, because they fired Sam Pittman before October 8th, when that new ruling went into effect or was announced, right. Arkansas is not subject now. When they hire a new coach, the portal open. When Penn State hires a new coach, the portal will open for 15 days for the players. So they basically get a head start jump in the portal, which opens in January when that coach is hired. But Arkansas doesn't. Arkansas is grandfathered in on the old deal. Arkansas's portal is open right now for these players, but there's nowhere for them to go. So they nailed it in that regard. They also nailed it from there's not the opportunity for guys to redshirt themselves because they'd all played in 5 games already. I think that Arkansas, I mean, I hate saying that about Pitt, that they nailed it when they fired him, but if you're going to fire him, that was the exact perfect time to do it.
Yeah. And, Arkansas wasn't the first either. I mean, we've seen Virginia Tech, we've seen who else? UCLA.
Yeah.
I think UAB now after Arkansas pulled the trigger, but yeah, I don't think you can worry about that, man. I really don't. You're going to have to deal with competition whether you did it 2 years ago, last year, this year. So I don't think you can worry about that, but I've been listening to just enough of you so far in this show to know that you're right. They've got to get it right no matter what that looks like, no matter what the timeline looks like. Mm-hmm. You've got to get it right, and you're going to have to pay to get it right regardless of who else is hiring. So that wouldn't bother me. Now, I'll tell you what does concern you. Certain schools in the SEC that have maybe a tie to a coach that you really like a Summerall. He's got ties to a Kentucky or Auburn, being from down there. Maybe some of those schools need to start winning a little bit. But as far as like out of conference, I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Yeah, I don't think that when it's all said and done, Penn State and Arkansas are going to be battling for the same coach. However, the coach that Penn State hires could affect Arkansas.
Absolutely.
That could, the dominoes will fall as they do.
Where do you think they go, Biddy? They go Matt Campbell, or what do they do?
Penn State.
Penn State.
I imagine they would probably try to make a run at him. I think they'll go for sitting Power 5 coach. He makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought where Penn State's going. What do you think?
Well, what's Signetti's buyout? I heard it was like 60.
It's big.
You got to at least make a call, though. What we're seeing right there, man, is one of the greatest stories in college football history, in my opinion. It's incredible.
He is also the outlier. Like when I say you can almost guarantee you're going to have a crappy season, he was the coach that avoided that. Like if you look at everybody who fired their coach last year or year before when Signetti was hired, if you look at every coach, they all had awful seasons, awful seasons, except for Indiana. And I think a lot of that's because he brought a lot of guys with him from James Madison. But like we're talking about, so you brought a lot of 1AA guys with you. Well, I guess they were they first year in? I think they were first year in FBS at that point. But still, the guy's a hell of a coach. And when I went back to update my hot board, I look at some of the names that are on there. First we've got Summerall from Troy on there, and he's since moved to Tulane. I had Mike Elko on there, which he would have been attainable possibly from Duke at the time. I had Mike Elko way back from when he was at Texas A&M defensive coordinator on that coaching search hot board. But I also had Kurt Signetti from James Madison. And to me, like if you're Arkansas, some people say like, go get Kurt Signetti. Like, yeah, guys, come on. The time to get him was when he was at James Madison. The time to get Campbell was when he was at Toledo. It's just what it is.
Yep.
Anything else to add, Danny?
Not too much, brother. I wish I had. And it's coming. The good recruiting news is coming. Probably be December before it gets here, but that's all right too. I got no problem deer hunting, Betty. If you want me to just do that until it's recruiting season.
Hey, you got your small window now. That's got to make you happy.
It's all right now.
They were killing poor Danny West.
Yeah, it was coming to a head there for a little bit, but I'll deal with the 15-day window in January. That'll be all right.
I've already told everybody on our team, I was like, do not schedule anything. I don't want to hear about a haircut. I don't want to hear about a vacation. I don't want to hear about anything.
Here on the haircut.
Hey, if your wife's got a birthday, let's move it.
I'm with that.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
You bet, man. See you.
All right. Hey, Connor, how's it going?
Taking a shot with the haircut over there?
I thought you would like
these luscious locks trimmed back, baby.
Hey, you're the only one. You're the only one. You and Kevin are the only ones that got to worry about that. Me and Danny take care of it at home.
Yeah, some days I wish it was as easy as not having to get this whole mane tamed.
Yeah, just rub your hands through it. I'm sure that feels nice. Hey, I want to hear your comment on this. This is from Sean Williams. He disagrees with my take on the field goal. Says, I disagree, Trey. I'm trying to win the game in every quarter. And yes, sometimes being more aggressive will cost you, but that's part of the game. I've said before, I lean to a little bit more conservative approach when it comes to, like, if it's 4th and 1 or less, then let's have a conversation. But to me, 4th and 3 or more, like, I like the points there. I like taking the points, especially when we're talking about keeping it to a one score. Well, that would have tied it. That would have tied it at that point. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. In most situations, you just take the points when you can get them. But there's a lot of times where, with the offense, especially you look back at the Ole Miss game, like if there was a situation there where you're moving the ball at will, I think that if you're looking at like a 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you probably have a little bit of confidence in your offense to just go ahead and pick that up. And Petrino's very aggressive. Obviously, the goal is to win the game, but even with that aggressiveness, and even if your offense is humming on all cylinders and you just kind of feel good about the situation, it's always nice to have the points. Especially, we've talked about it on here before. It's so hard to win games in the SEC. I mean, in the margin of victory is so razor thin that when you have the opportunity to add 3 points on the board, I think that more often than not, you should do that. And it's a good rule of thumb to just take your points. But you can't fault Petrino. Like at the end of the day, he's playing with house money. Nobody expects him to go out and win all these games. And so I think that if he gets that, maybe they score on that play, it changes the whole complexion of the final 20 minutes. And so you can't fault him, but you can look back and say, it really would have been nice to have those 3 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can dissect it many ways. I don't think that that's necessarily the decision. I mean, that's part of it, but that's not the reason that Arkansas lost the game. I mean, having the 3 turnovers, I mean, that was critical, especially the 2 down in scoring territory. Although I love to see the defense get their back and get the stop. I think the defense getting that stop early. I mean, I don't know what Tennessee was thinking because they were throwing deep balls, just like, and Arkansas got off the field. But I'd said that before the game, like the offense needs to feel like the defense has their back, and I think that played into the way the game, kind of played out with Arkansas still, battling there. But you were down in Hot Springs for the the Razorback Tip-Off Classic? Is that what it was?
Tip-Off Scrimmage, yeah.
Tip-Off Scrimmage. What'd you think?
Man, normally when we go to these events and we walk away, there's not a lot to take away. Like the Primetime at the Palace event, like it was just kind of more of a celebration type deal. There wasn't a lot of competitiveness. It was an introduction for the fan base. Didn't really have a lot to dissect from that. This was completely different than what the Primetime at the Palace event was. This was 2 20-minute scrimmages, 5v5. Halfway through, Calipari switched up the teams. And the guys were going at it. They were very competitive. They were going at it. There's some friendly trash talk, not just between the players, but Kenny Payne was coaching one team, Chin Coleman coaching the other. They were trash talking in between timeouts. Calipari was sitting on the media side with us, just kind of, operating, directing traffic. He would stop plays and call timeouts and stuff and talk to each team when he felt he needed to. But for the most part, he just sat back there and let the show kind of play out. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I really don't. But this team just feels light years ahead of any other team that I have seen in recent history. Even the Musselman teams, including last year's team, they're not even the same ballpark as last year's team. And I really think all the questions, all the concerns that we had coming in the season, I think that they're starting to answer them. I know they haven't played a game, but yesterday was a really good look at this team, and I feel so much better about where they are. And I really, truly think they can do something special. I think that a lot of people are making them, underrating them. They're discounting them. They're counting them out. Buy your Arkansas stock now, because I think that going into the season, this team is loaded up to do something really, really special.
So we don't like them at 14, right?
I think that's a little low. Nationally, okay, I could see it. 5th in the SEC, though. I mean, they return more scoring production from last year than anyone else in the conference. Then they added 4 more really, really good players. I just don't get there's not 4 more teams in the SEC, I think, that are better than this Arkansas roster going in. And, Ken Palm came out and released his preseason rankings, had Arkansas at 29. There's certainly not 28 other rosters out there that are better than what Calipari has. That's for sure.
What did he have him at? What did Ken Palm?
The Ken Palm preseason rankings had Arkansas at 29th.
Wow.
Yeah. And those are always, there's a bunch of math and formulas and equations and stuff that go into it that you need a lot of data for those models to really be accurate and stuff and get a good sample size.
Do we send Arkansas Twitter after him?
Do what?
Do we send Arkansas Twitter after him?
There were a couple people. Yeah, there's a couple people upset. I saw a couple of interesting tweets, but those type deals, it's not more. It's you can kind of hide behind a formula a little bit, so it's not more opinion driven like the AP poll is. Which if the AP poll had Arkansas in rank, there would be pitchforks and they'd be burning down offices
because that is personal opinions.
Yeah. So I think you can kind of get away with it a little bit. And Arkansas really has never been the analytical darling the last couple of years, even under Musselman. And I think, though, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on here. The schedule that they have a lot of big opportunities to shut some folks up. And I think that this team, Calipari's messaging is complete 180 from last year too. Last year, he's like, let's temper expectations. We have to get healthy. We'll be better in February and March than we were in November. We're going to be better. We just have to keep improving. This year, he's like, he's more focused on, cleaning up the smaller things like guys throwing, careless passes and little things like that do matter. But it's not like last year's team where he didn't have really any clue what to expect when the first game was coming up. But that's directly related to how comfortable he is and how good I think he really thinks this team can be. And it would not surprise me at all if they go, knock off a Michigan State, knock off a Houston, Texas Tech, Duke. If they win the majority of those games, I don't think it would surprise me as much as it would have earlier in the summer when those games were announced.
Connor Goodson join us. You can follow him at Connor Goodson on X. He does all of our basketball coverage, most of our basketball coverage, and also football as well. Does a great job for us. Is that your John Calipari impression?
No, it's not really an impression. It was just, it was more of a quote. I'm not a great
Your
impression
John
guy,
Calipari
but
sounds more whiny.
yeah, it did. And John Calipari is not a whiner. There's some other coaches out there that whine a little bit. He's not really a whiner.
Kentucky's the
much.
bluest of blue. The bluest of blue.
Yeah, see, you're the impressions guy. You could actually probably make a killing with some of your impressions.
I need to work
could
on
not.
them more because I just kind of throw them out there. Like I've always been pretty good at doing that.
That Edo had me rolling. Was it Thursday?
That was off the cuff, Edo too.
That was crazy good. That was really good. It had me dying. So,
all right, Connor. Anything else you want to add?
No, just I'm really excited to see this team next Friday against Cincinnati in their first competition against different colored jerseys. I think that it should be a good atmosphere. Guys, I don't want to oversell this, but this team is really capable of doing something special. We'll have more content out. I'm gonna write a couple op-eds, I think, to get my thoughts on it. But this should be a really, really fun season.
Yeah, they got a lot of size and good guard play. I agree with you, Connor. I'm looking forward to a really special season.
Yep.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
All right.
Take
care, Trey.
Yep, you too. That's Connor Goodson. Follow him at Connor Goodson on X. Does a great job, and has a good stylist too. He always has a good haircut. He's bringing up the room with the hair. I'd like to tell you about our friends over at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry is proud to be the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks and are thrilled to support the team, and that includes providing beautifully crafted pieces for the U of A homecoming court. Built on tradition since 1987, Blakeman's has been Northwest Arkansas's trusted destination for exceptional jewelry and personalized service. Visit them at their brand new location, 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas, 72758. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, where Arkansas gets engaged. And it's probably time to start thinking about popping that question if you want to have a spring or summer wedding. When is homecoming? I don't even remember when homecoming is, but I guess it's got to be these next few games. It's usually not the last game because that's senior day, the Missouri game. So these next three, right? Sometime. Not sure when it is exactly. Okay, where do we want to go? Let's get to the questions. I need to go over real quick what we did last week on our picks. Bet Saracen. Bet Saracen's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Last week, we went 2-2-1. We had our worst week. No, excuse me. We had week 4. We went 1-3-1. We took it on the chin week 4. So this is our second worst week 2-2-1. I had picked Alabama to cover -3 against Missouri. That was a push. Alabama won 27-24. I picked Washington State. I just thought that was too many. That was too many points. 32.5 at Ole Miss. I picked Washington State in that one. Ole Miss won 24-21, so we won there. Oklahoma, I had +1 against Texas. I feel real good about that. I mean, in 75 meetings since those two teams were, played, where at least one team was ranked, the higher ranked team or the only ranked team has not always won, but it's like 56-18-1 or something. I mean, and then Oklahoma got their doors blown off 23-6. So all teams aren't going undefeated. Like, it's easy to look at a team and they're undefeated and be like, oh, of course they're going to win. No, they're eventually going to lose. There's going to be a lot of losses to come. LSU, I had them -8.5 against South Carolina. LSU won 20-10, so we won that one. And then Arkansas, I missed that one. I had Arkansas losing that one. What did I pick? 42-28, and they lost 34-31 in that one. So that was a -12. To Tennessee, so I lost that one. That brings me down to 4-2 picking hog games against the spread. It brings me to 20-13-2 overall on the season right now. 20-13-2. So hopefully we pick that back up next week. We'll be doing the wager wagon on Thursday for the primer, so be sure to watch out for that. Okay, questions. I don't have our questions pulled up. I keep forgetting to do that. And where did I put them? There they are. Okay. Trey, this is from Burkus Maximus. Any thoughts on the impact Bobby's year in College Station will have on his prep for Saturday? Will his familiarity with some of the key players help him in this week's game plan? So he played a role in recruiting Marcel Reed. I mean, he was already committed, but he still was involved because, after he got there, he was already committed. But he was in his quarterback room, so he knows some things about the kid, obviously. And the way he put, when I asked him about it today, he said, he's got a very unique personality. I was like, what's unique? And he's like, let's just say he really loves life. So sounds like a good kid. But I would think that there's going to be some advantages to that. As we mentioned, Bobby Petrino has a really good record. He mentioned, one year they were down like 18 points at halftime and came back and won, but they went 3-0 against Texas A&M, and every coach since has combined for 1-12. Story of the year says, in your opinion, what's the best case scenario for Arkansas football the next 7 weeks? Best case, win these next 3 at home and win one more, whether that's Texas, LSU, or Missouri at home. That's like Arkansas can do this, guys. Like it's going to take some luck. It's going to take some balls bouncing the right way. It's going to take like converting that 4th and 3. It's going to take not having turnovers in your opponent's territory. Those kinds of things have to stop, like especially the turnovers. Like the decision-making stuff, we can argue back and forth. Yeah, if he makes it, then it's the right decision. It's a great call. Love the aggressiveness, all that stuff. That's probably what we're talking about. But the turnovers have to stop. You cannot lose the turnover battle. One of the things that I was really pleased to see was the 1 penalty. They had 2 penalties total. 1 was accepted. But even still, 2 penalties, beyond acceptable. That is beyond acceptable. And what was the penalty? It was a holding call. Like, it's not a procedure penalty. I think it was interesting for me. First of all, I forget how vertical Neyland Stadium is. It is so vertical. You're just like almost looking down, like on top of the players when you're in the press box because you were pretty high up. The only thing I don't like about that press box is it's all behind glass that's pretty thick. Like you cannot hear the crowd. When I stepped out onto the field into the concourse at first, and I was just like, wow, it's so loud in here. And then went down on the field and I could just feel it. I could feel the vibrations in the air. Like it was so intense just coming down on you. But yeah, it's a really good environment, but the fact that they got out of an environment like that and didn't, I guess, have any procedure penalties, pretty impressive. In your opinion, what's the best case scenario? I talked about that. Pittsburgh Squealer says, T-Train, what is your thoughts on Cam Shanks' performance Saturday? Why has he been playing more to this point? I agree with you. Like there are things that I saw in practice in the spring that I have not seen them do yet also with Cam. I mean, they plenty of times would motion Cam Shanks into the backfield and sometimes even hand the ball off to him, sometimes send him out on a wheel route or something. And they had success doing that. And we have not seen that at all. But, why have we seen him playing more up to this point? Because Jaylen Brown had a season-ending injury. And so somebody has to move up and play more snaps. And looks like that was Cam Shanks. But that's why. Smiling Assassin's Creed. I'm going to read this just because it's funny. And people like to give me nicknames. Teabagger. Who would you say are Arkansas's top 3 head coaching candidates at the moment? For me, I think there's a huge contingent of people, and some people in Northwest Arkansas specifically, with deep pockets who want to make a run at Lashley. I don't think that's off the table. Even though, you've heard things that he's not interested in taking that job. Again, that's exactly what you say in the middle of the season. Nick Saban went on camera and said he's not taking an Alabama job and ended up taking the Alabama job when he was at Miami Dolphins. But I've said before, I really like John Sumrall. I don't know if he'll be there for Arkansas. I think he'll be courted by a lot of big teams. So yes, you hear a lot about Lashley. Me personally, I'd like to see them have an opportunity for him. I don't know if that'll happen. And Bobby Petrino too. I want to see Arkansas win these next several games. I want to see Bobby Petrino become head coach. You know why? because that means Arkansas is winning football games. I don't want to sit here the rest of the season and watch them lose or almost win games over and over again. I want to see them win. And so I want to see Bobby Petrino named head coach. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. And the reason it wouldn't happen is because they don't win. So, yeah, I think everybody should want Bobby Petrino to be the coach because that means Arkansas is going to win a bunch of games. I think he needs to win 4. I think that's the number. I think 5 without question, but 5's, that's probably not happening. But we have seen them. Ole Miss is a really good team. Tennessee's a really good team. Like, we've seen them compete against really good teams and look like they belong on the field. Are they deficient in some areas? Absolutely. But they have a good enough team to beat Ole Miss. They have a good enough team to beat Memphis. They have a good enough team to beat Tennessee. They didn't get it done. Maybe they have almost a good enough team. But to me, like, if they've got a good enough team to do those kinds of things, then wouldn't it stand to reason that they've got a good enough team to beat Missouri, to, LSU, even Texas? Things have to bounce right. Obviously, you got to get lucky in there. Texas A&M beat Notre Dame. Bobby says Notre Dame. Notre Dame. They beat them 41-40. That was a game Notre Dame kind of gave away. Vilde Edward Hogg, rumor. Hogs offered someone $10 million a year. Would have to be Meyer, Saban, or Gruden, right? Commanding that type of money. That's middle of the pack SEC coaching money. You look right dead in the middle, 7, 8, 9 coaches, they're getting $8.5 to $9 million. So it's a little bit above that. But no, that's what coaches get in this conference. Just A-N-T-I. T. Bisler. Josh Pate claimed on his show Sunday night that there will be an unexpected coaching turnover at major programs. Is this due to the professionalization of the college game or due to the number of changes already happening this year and trying to get ahead of the game? I think it was, for some schools, it was difficult to fire coaches last year, and now they've made it really easy. The only drawback now for firing a coach is that 15-day portal window now. After you hire a coach, that portal opens. So you can get a head start. We're talking about coach gets hired, say, December 5th, week after your last game. And that's been pretty, we've seen it obviously take longer. But say October, December 5th, you hire that coach. So the portal opens for the next 15 days all the way up to December 20th. And then you've got Christmas. And these guys have all had a head start to get in the transfer portal for it that opens on January 2nd. So that would be the only thing that would hold me back right now. But that's not near as bad as it used to be. It used to be the players were gone while you were doing your coaching search and all the other players were signing with schools. Like it was very hard to change coaches back then. Man of Squeal says, how long are we going? 53. Man of Squeal says, without mentioning any current names, what would be your top 5 criteria for a head coaching candidate? What would athletic director Trey Biddy do? Well, if I have resources to go out and hire the guy, I would hire a guy that is one, and maybe a guy that is one where people have not won. That's one of the reasons I like John Sumrall. Let's look at Troy year over year. So at Troy, let's see, with Chip Lindsey there, they went 5-7, 5-6, and then 5-7. Sumrall takes over. They go 12-2 and 11-3, and then since he's left, they're 4-8 and 4-2, 4-2 right now. To me, like, that stands out. I don't think it'll fall to Kenny, but G.J. Kenny over at Texas State, like, that is a program that never, like, I'm talking like 1 to 3 wins year after year after year. Now, 8-5 may not jump out to people, but that's what they did the last 2 years under him. But to me, that's a sign that he's got something, So I look at stuff like that. I felt the same way about Matt Rule, although Rule hasn't really done it yet at Nebraska. But I look at Rule, what he did. He was at Temple. That's not a program that won, and he won there. and then he left the NFL, didn't work out, and then he came back. No, excuse me. I'm ahead of myself. He went to Baylor. Baylor was a program we were talking about is never going to recover. I think they won one game his first year there, and then they end up and they're, competing for conference champion. I mean, like, to me, that says that he's got something going on. What has he done at Nebraska right now? I mean, not that I think he's a candidate or anything for Arkansas. I've always kind of watched him, but at the same time, they're 5-1 this year, 5-1 at Nebraska. But at the same time, people have told me like his record against top 25 teams is really poor. But I've not been following Nebraska really. I just always kind of watched him because, I mean, they went 11-3 at Baylor. Baylor was going to maybe they should get rid of football. That was the kind of talk. 10-4 and 10-3 his last 2 years at Temple. Maybe that's the guy that Penn State looks at. Lord Porter 95 said, "How bad would the vibes get if Arkansas gets dog walk Saturday?" Pretty bad. I mean, it would be everybody would lose interest at that point. Everybody would move on to say, okay, it was nice, entertaining the idea of Bobby coming back, but it's not happening. I think the team would probably re-let go. Probably. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the fans at Fayetteville deserve a great game. I will never forget back in 2023 when Arkansas went on the road, played Alabama to 3 points, played Ole Miss to 7, and Hunter Yurchek gets on Twitter, X now, I guess it was Twitter still then, I can't remember when it changed, but gets on there and says this team deserves a packed house. And what do? They come out and lose 7-3 to an awful Mississippi State team. The fans in Fayetteville they haven't been treated to the games they deserve to be treated to. Like, we should not be clearing out the stadium at halftime, and rightly so. Like, that should not be happening. I've said this before, but like, to be in a football game, like competing, living and dying on every play and stuff, like it's hard to beat. So I want to see a great game, and I'd like to see Arkansas come out with a win. I think that would be paramount for Bobby Petrino. T. Diggles from Army of Nabunga. Am I even saying that right? Is that how you say Nabunga? Nabunga. Army of Nabunga. T. Diggles, do you think age would get in the way of hiring Silverfield from Memphis? I got underwear older than him. How old is Silverfield? He's got to be 40, right? But you tend to hire a coach that's the opposite of, he's 45. He's old enough. Whew. I don't know if I've had a sneeze on the show before. 600 episodes. I think this is 600. But Silverfield's old enough. He's 45 easily. That to me, like when you start talking about, getting to be about 40 years old, then like a coach that's really moving up on a path to being a head coach, that's about the age you start seeing, okay, let's see, this guy's probably getting his first notable job at a G5 program or something like that. I think Houston might have been 40 years old. How old was Bobby? Was he 46 when he got the Arkansas job? Maybe something like that. 47 maybe? I don't know. I can't remember how old he was. But anyway, that seems to be the kind of the age. But you tend to go with the coach the opposite. If you hire an offensive guy, you bring in a defensive guy as the next one. If you have an old guy, you have a young guy. If you have a players coach, you have a CEO. That's just the way ADs do it, because you want that fresh air kind of with the player. Army says, T-Bones, I'm going to bet on Arkansas versus the Aggies, but I need to know if you're attending. For some reason, you are worth 6 points to the other team when you're in attendance. Thanks. I've attended every home game for 20 years or 20 plus years, I guess. It's the road games that get me. Like, I'm on 18 losses now on the road. 18 straight, dating to 2016 against TCU. Ongo Goblogian says, T-Pain, You've mentioned that you've heard there are a lot of funds available to make a strong head coach hire. If that's the case, what stopped those from being used for NIL to date? I think it's the support. I think it's the level of support. People just like, I don't want to support Pittman. I think there need to be change. And, I've said this before. I kind of felt like it would have happened most years last year had the calendar not been the way it was. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just people thinking their money isn't going to be used the way they want it. Maybe boosters just didn't like Pittman, but some of them did. I mean, there are plenty of boosters that do like Pittman and did want to support. I mean, like, Frank Fletcher, for example. Frank Fletcher was, huge into giving, like to support Pittman and to support Bobby Petrino. I mean, and plenty of others have, but maybe not enough. Maybe boosters just didn't like Pittman, but it seems head-scratching that we have such a surplus but couldn't fund something that would only be a fraction of what we'll need to make a new hire. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what it's like to deal with that kind of money. So, HogFan44, T. Blizzy, long time, first time. Can we see the pupper in question after banking 2 live streams ago? The what? Some asking if he got whooped. Others believe he just got a stern finger point and talking to. Thanks in advance. The pupper in question. Also, if Taylor Green, I don't know what you're talking about. Can we see if the pupper in question after the barking? Oh, the dog. No, I don't whip my dog. He's a good boy. But I don't know. He was going berserk. I usually had this door over here closed and it was open. So I've got a barrier here and I got a barrier here. And this one, I guess I left it open and somebody was at the door. So yeah, he likes to bark at people. No, the pupper's fine. He didn't get a stern talking to. He just got, shut up. Also, if Taylor Green was at Auburn, what do you think their record would be? I think they would be a fighting chance of being 6-0. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Auburn doesn't have a great quarterback. Like, so much of it comes down to quarterback. It just really does. And that's one of the reasons I like Petrino, because I know that he will generally attract a good quarterback. I mean, obviously the money's got to be there and stuff too. But, yeah, a good quarterback changed a lot of things for a lot of people. Bud Biddy, Big-tacular. Since Danny West has lost 60 pounds and kept it off, do you think it would be good if he spent time around the defense during weight training and meals? And in your words, how fat are those old boys? What are you talking about? Danny has not lost 60 pounds, but he's trimmed up. He's trimmed up. SWA Hog 281 says, Kane Womack and Mike Elko have been on similar paths. It's time for Womack to take a more prestigious head coach job like Elko did with Duke. Could Arkansas be that job? I mean, he's a guy that I've got on my coaching search hot board. Kane Womack was at South Alabama and then took the Alabama defensive coordinator job. So he has been a head coach and he's at Alabama. Like, there have been plenty of instances where coaches who are coordinators at big time schools have gone on to have success. Obviously, Dan Lanning has done that. Brent Venables is at Oklahoma. I don't know if you had to say he's had a huge measure of success, but he was a coordinator straight to another school. Jeff Levy was coordinator at Oklahoma before he got the Mississippi State job. Yeah, so Glenn Schumann's another guy that people talk about a lot. Well, his next job will be at a major school. So maybe he's a guy to consider. I mean, he's not a sitting head coach, but he left a head coaching job to take the Alabama defensive coordinator job. And he went to the University of Arkansas. Lunchmeat 8218 says, T. Business, can you discuss a particularly challenging or rewarding interview you've conducted? Particularly rewarding or challenging? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Maybe I'll come back to you. Rewarding. I'll have to think about that. Thorhog says, in your opinion, do you think we see the same effort from Arkansas this week against A&M that we saw against Tennessee? I mean, I'm tempted to think they're just going to get their doors blown off because they went on the road and did what they've been doing. And, I mean, like, I'm big into trends and stuff. So hopefully we see that effort. I think Arkansas has a chance. I mean, they are the home team in this one, and that matters. Texas A&M is very good, but I don't know. We're going to find out a lot. It's just hard to know what to expect. It's hard for me, like even in the walk and talk, to know how to feel. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed they lost. It was proud to see them fight after the way they played against Notre Dame, but I'm just at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know how to feel because, it's one thing to get, upset because things have gone a certain way with Pittman and he's still the coach and, you feel like there's issues there. But now we're just kind of in this limbo, so. Trey, maybe give us an early score prediction. Man, I'm not ready for that. I don't even know what is the line. I haven't even looked at Bet Saracen for the betting line yet. Is it out? I don't know if it's out yet. Got Bet Saracen up. Let's see. SEC teams, popular. How do I get off NFL? What is the betting line? Anybody know? How have I not looked at that yet? I know there's a tab for Arkansas teams. Somebody put me the betting line. Tell me the betting line. So I don't know what I'm predicting, but I'm most likely going to pick Texas A&M unless I just am feeling it. So early score prediction. I don't know. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't. Nothing's popping in my head. I don't want to get. T Jizzle, no question, just Jizzle from Whiskey Drunk. Trizzle Bizzle. T Biddle Nuts. Talker during walking. Does Bobby have to own these issues with the fumbles? The fumble with Braylon was. It's hard for me to put that on Braylon. Again, when you get a helmet right here like that, the ball is going to pop out. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. They're also the Talon Green fumble. I guess you could say Bobby has a role in that, but I know Talon has just had a tendency to fumble the ball. He hasn't done it so much this year, but obviously it reared its ugly head in this one. They're also random in situation, guys coming from behind, two defenders hitting Russell just right. I can't see him fixing it with time left. What's the chances he ends up being our guy? And what's your negatives if we do end up having him as a head coach? I think it just depends, C. Trickle. I just think it depends on if they win these games or not. This is the audition for Bobby Petrino to be head coach. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect totally. What are the chances? Probably stacked against him. It's a very challenging schedule coming up. Mr. Pig says, what is with Arkansas and turnovers? I know it's practice. Even Chad Morris had a time for ball security. Arkansas can't seem to hold on to the ball. Talon, again, has always had trouble holding on to the ball. He's made some, poor decisions in certain times. The Braylon Russell one was just what it was, and I think he's trying to make a play on that last fumble that Talon had. I think he's just trying to get rid of the ball, and the guy made a great play on him. The first fumble, I think, was pretty inexcusable on Talon's part. Westhog 21 says, Tizzy B, what are some changes you've noticed that Bobby made that maybe haven't been noticed or discussed? I think there were some personnel issues. They had Bradley Shaw in there starting. They've moved Justice Boone inside some on defense. We saw a lot more of Cam Shanks, but again, part of that is a product of Jaylen Brown being out. I think a lot of this stuff is probably things that we don't see, just how they choose to go about their business on the road, when they have meetings. Petrino has his schedule of doing things, and he's changed up a lot of that kind of stuff. I think that we'll probably see differences with this one, maybe when they have their meetings, when they go to the team hotel, when they do their walkthrough, before the game. I felt like Arkansas took the field later than normal. Maybe I don't know what that was, but for pregame stuff, usually they take the field way earlier, it seems, than what they did. And so I felt like they maybe waited a little bit longer. I should have asked him about that today. Hogtalica says, did you get food while you were in Knoxville? I did. I went to what's the name? Oh, Black Horse Pub and Brewery, which, you know, kind of has like an out. You see, starting to see that pop up a lot of places, but they, you know, have their own beer. They had a big, you know, an outside area with the stage and stuff. It was pretty cool. That was probably my favorite. What else did I eat while I was there? That was that night. I mean, I just ended up eating continental breakfast at the hotel, then went to the game and ate there. They had a pretty good spread. I'm never a huge fan of like what we do in Fayetteville, but you know, some other schools, like, you know, they had barbecue and potato salad and baked beans, you know, and then they had ice cream also. You get ice cream at halftime at Tennessee. I had an orange creamsicle. Sorry. It was calling to me. Hogtalica says it seems like the lack of coaching changes last year spilling over into this year and supplying the coaching market with more open jobs in previous years. Now that there has been, man, it's a long sentence. Now that there has been a change to the transfer portal rule, are you concerned that this will turn into the coaches market and make it more challenging than normal to attract high quality coach? Or I don't know yet. We'll see what else comes open, but there will be dominoes that fall that impact Arkansas most likely. Should be really entertaining. I mean, we didn't really have a very entertaining coaching search type of deal last year across college football because there weren't that many firings. So, but hopefully it'll be entertaining. Visit our friends over at Crain Automotive. 16 locations in the state of Arkansas, and they have thousands of vehicles and thousands of pre-owned, every budget, every lifestyle. So go check out our friends, title sponsor at Crain. Appreciate all of our sponsors on HawgSports Live. Sorry for my demeanor today. I'm a little ticked off at my situation with the yard. I'm very ticked off. I haven't been this mad in a long time. The amount of time that I've spent and money on that yard to have it rutted up and done like that. I'm infuriated. So sorry about that. All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. Thanks, Connor Goodson. Thanks, Danny West. We'll be back to you guys on Thursday for the primer. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We will catch you next time.